Well, welcome everyone to the Republican Baltimore County Executive Forum, sponsored by the League of Women Voters, Baltimore County, and the Randallstown NAACP. My name is Nielsen Andrews, and I'm with the League of Women Voters, Baltimore County. We are pleased to present this opportunity for the voters of Baltimore County to meet the candidates and hear what they have to say about important issues facing our county. The League and NAACP are nonprofit, nonpartisan political organizations. Neither organization supports nor opposes candidates for public office, and both do not support public political parties. The League's mission is to encourage informed and active participation in government, works to increase understanding of major political policy issues, and influences public policy through education and advocacy. The NAACP seeks to ensure that African Americans, as well as all citizens, participate in our democracy as active and informed voters. The forum this evening is a webinar, which means that the audience members can submit questions to the host in the chat, but cannot pose questions verbally or enable their video. During the forum, the candidates will respond to questions, but this is not a debate and time will not be provided for candidates to rebut each other's responses. Questions will not be specific to any candidate. Civility is expected, and candidates who behave disrespectfully, such as talking over other candidates, will be warned and may be muted or removed from the forum. Please note that no unauthorized recordings of this forum are permitted, as its content is the property of the League of Women Voters of Baltimore County and the Randallstown NAACP, and may not be used without permission. A recording will be available after the forum. And with that, we are ready to begin our forum tonight, and our moderator tonight is Diane Aschenbrenner.
Hello and good evening. So tonight's forum is for Baltimore County Executive for the Republican candidates. The Baltimore County Executive is the leader of the county, and his or her duties include drafting the budget and sending it to Baltimore County Council, as well as the administration of the various departments in Baltimore County. Our Republican candidates tonight are Darren M. Badillo and Kimberley Stansbury. All of the candidates running for election from the Republican Party were invited for this evening. The candidates will each make a 2-minute opening statement as well as a 2-minute closing statement after the question and answer period. The order of the opening statements will be determined by the alphabetical order of their last names. The closing statement will be in reverse order. The timekeeper will give a 30-second verbal warning and announce when the allotted time is up. After the opening statements, each of the candidates will have the opportunity to respond to questions. Candidates will not be allowed to give rebuttals. We will begin with questions developed by the League of Women Voters and the Randallstown NAACP, followed by questions from the audience. We invite you to submit questions on the chat, where they will be collected and vetted and passed to the moderator. Our screener will review questions for repetition and choose for variety. We may not have time for all questions submitted by the audience. Candidates will have 2 minutes to respond to the questions, and time limits will be strictly enforced. A timekeeper will alert the speaker when they have 30 seconds left and when time is up, at which time the speaker must stop speaking within 10 seconds. Our goal is to end the forum by 8 p.m., and we appreciate everyone's help in achieving this goal. Now we will have the 2-minute opening statement from each of the candidates. And by the alphabet, Mr. Badillo, you're first.
I first want to thank you for hosting this event. I really appreciate it, giving the candidates an opportunity to introduce themselves to the community and your organization. My name is Darren Badillo. I'm born and raised here in Baltimore County. I love Baltimore County, and I love serving the community. I'm a deacon at Rosedale Baptist Church. I'm a director of operations for our at-risk youth mentorship program the past 4 years. And with your vote, I can continue to serve our community at a higher capacity. I believe that the way that we can move the county in the right direction is by working on our foundations. We need to build up our schools. We need to support our police officers and first responders. And I believe we need a strong leader that's going to carry the ball over the goalpost, and that's me. I love serving the community. With your vote, I'll be able to do that. Thank you.
And Ms. Stansbury, your opening statement.
Hi, my name is Kimberley Stansbury, and I'm running for Baltimore County Executive. I was not born and raised in Baltimore County. I actually graduated high school right across the city line from Northern High School. I have lived here since my college days at Towson University with my husband of 36 years. We have 2 kids who were both brought up in the Baltimore County public school system. Baltimore County means everything to me. Baltimore County is where I chose to live, where I chose to raise my family. I love my community. I want what's best for everyone in Baltimore County. Baltimore County is unique. Baltimore County has no incorporated cities. It is all made up of communities. And that is where our strength lies, in our communities. And this is what I want to foster as Baltimore County Executive. I want to make each community strong. Every one of our communities have different and unique needs, and I want to make sure that they get the help from Baltimore County that they need to keep their community strong. I support strong law enforcement. I want to reduce crime, and our schools, we need quality education for all of our children. And this is why I chose to run for Baltimore County Executive.
Thank you. And now we will move to the question and answer portion of the forum. I will go back and forth between the 2 candidates to allow each of them to speak first alternately. So we will start with Ms. Stansbury for question 1. How do your skills and experience prepare you for the duties of county executive?
Well, I have a degree in political science from Towson University. I also taught citizenship in the community, the world, and the nation for Boy Scouts for over a decade. While working my way through school, I worked for a major retail corporation, Caldor. I managed multiple departments during that time, so I'm used to handling multiple tasks at once. I also worked the money room during Christmas, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, and that's a large amount of money. So budgeting is also something that comes second nature. The last 25 years I worked in healthcare, so I know the needs of the community. So that's what has prepared me.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm afraid you got frozen out. We'll allow you to come back in, Ms. Stansbury. You got frozen there at the end.
Oh, all of these experiences, I've worked in healthcare for over 25 years. I know the needs of the citizens of Baltimore County, and I am going to do my best to help them with whatever their needs are. And this is what will make me a good Baltimore County executive.
Thank you. Mr. Badillo.
And that's a great question. And I think that's a very important question. And I think it first starts with is that I'm a leader. I have high integrity and character. One of my strongest skills is the ability to identify a problem and come up with effective solutions. My ability to successfully manage large staff, departments, and budgets, but also the ability to connect with others and build strong relationships. I began to master these skills in 2007, being a district manager at an auto glass location in Dundalk, where I was in charge of 3 locations, managing the people, the process, the budgets, and advertising. And the store I was overseeing generated the most profit out of 80 locations. Since then, I've continued to master these skills, working directly with owners, CEOs, and general managers. But also, like I said, I'm a deacon at Rosedale Baptist Church and a director for an at-risk youth mentorship program. So during the pandemic, I was serving the youth. I was working with those battling addictions. I was serving meals to the community. So I'm in the community. And that's what it's going to take when you have a strong county executive that's in the community, that I hear the problems fast, like the wastewater treatment. When that was going on, I heard about it in March and I sounded the alarm. residents trust me. The issues with schools, I've been on Fox 45 News 15 times, WCBM and WBAL. I am in the community. I am a leader. And that's how my skills will help me win and be the next Baltimore County executive.
Thank you. We'll move to the second question, and we'll stay with you, Mr. Badillo. Question 2. Given that the county will receive increased funding from local, state, and federal sources, what would be your spending priorities? And are there any particular areas of the county that you see as priority for these funds?
You know, that is a very good question. I believe that our priorities need to be strengthening and focusing more on providing more funding for our public safety. I think that when I looked at the American Rescue Plan and we were given 77% of that money to Recs and Parks, I was blown away by that. We don't need more Recs and Parks. We need more, like I said, strengthening our foundation. We need to support. We have our schools that are over capacity. We have our police forces that are not fully funded. I was actually recently on a ride along with the White Marsh Precinct, and I was very encouraged because of looking at the communication that they had going between each other. But I was really worried when I got off that night at the end of that shift, and there were still 10 calls that weren't attended to because they are short-staffed. So I think we need to build up our public safety. I think we need to focus on after-school positive programs for our disconnected youth. I do believe that we do have our elders. I'm a deacon. I work with those. We need to have more programs for our retirees as well. So at the end of the day, I believe we need to support our small businesses, put them back on Main Street. We need to build bridges between employers and the workforce. And we need to provide incentives to get lower income workers back on a job because solid foundations encourage positive growth.
Thank you. Ms. Stansbury.
Yes, the budget this year for Baltimore County is $4.8 billion. Of that, 50 to 55% will go for our schools. After that, I believe that we need to focus on crime and making our community safe. I have a fondness for law enforcement. Between 14 and 21, I was involved in the Police Explorers for Northeastern District of Baltimore City. It was a wonderful program that helped teenagers see what the police department is all about. We need to bring more Explorer programs back into Baltimore County so we can give our youth something to do. We need to encourage small businesses. I love small business. While the pandemic was going on, our small businesses were shut down. We cannot allow that to happen any longer. Our large box stores stayed open. We need to encourage small business with grants, loans, and incentives. We need to continue giving people options. We need to take care of our elderly, our disabled, and our veterans. We need to provide housing. We need to make sure there are no food deserts.
Oh, we're having a little problem with your bandwidth. You're frozen again. There you're back. Did you have an opportunity to finish? Because I think your last 5-10 seconds was cut off.
Oh, we just need to make sure that the needs of our communities are met. And this is what I will do as Baltimore County Executive.
Okay, thank you. And the third question will start also with you, Ms. Stansbury. Question 3, how will you work to support transparency and community trust in creating and managing the Police Accountability Board? What guidelines would you use to select members of the Police Accountability Board?
Well, the first thing I would want to do is bring back the Law Enforcement Officers' Bill of Rights. That would ensure a review board for them if an incident were to occur. The Police Accountability Board would have to be open to all individuals. We would need members of the community, members of law enforcement, and members of our government to oversee this board to make it fair and equitable for everyone.
Thank you. Mr. Badillo, your turn.
Yes. So as far as public safety and that board's concerned, I believe that we need to hold everybody accountable in Baltimore County. I'm not for more watchdogs on our police, to be honest with you. I do believe, like the police officers, every resident in Baltimore County needs to be held accountable. I believe as far as public safety is concerned, I think where that starts here in Baltimore County, with all due respect, I believe it's with Police Chief Hyatt. She needs to be fired. One, because she is out of touch with reality. That recruitment's at an all-time low, crime's at an all-time low. So again, with all due respect, she has to go. What I would like to do as far as our police force is concerned is work directly with our FOP, have weekly meetings, listen to their suggestions, and document recommendations. As far like Kim said, the officers' Bill of Rights. Right now, we have police officers that are afraid to do their job. We're giving more rights to our criminals than our police officers. So I will make modifications that work best for Baltimore County police officers. It is the responsibility of every community to ensure the safety, security of our schools, churches, businesses, and homes. And we do that by fully funding our police, fire, EMS, and ensuring they have the tools and training to protect and serve our communities.
Thank you. And we'll stay with you for question 4. What are your views on expanding the number of Baltimore County Council districts from the current 7 to serve the continuing growth of Baltimore County's diverse population?
That's something I will have to look into. To be honest with you, I think that we need to work with the current county council. And I believe that with the proper leadership, we wouldn't need to add more. At the end of the day, I believe that we do need new leadership. We do need better representation, and we need it now.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Stansbury.
Baltimore County Council right now, I think is just fine. We will have to look at it going forward based on the amount of people that are in Baltimore County. That is a discussion we will have to make at a later time based on census and other things that come into play. But for right now, I think they do a wonderful job of representing the people of Baltimore County. And I look forward to work.
Okay, thank you. I'll stay with you, Ms. Stansbury, for question 5. How could the county increase the availability of affordable housing for county residents?
Affordable housing is mandated through quite a few different things. Right now, Maryland, Connecticut, and Massachusetts are the only states in the country that have to accept Section 8 housing. We need housing for all of our residents, but I'm not sure that Baltimore County needs to put a mandate on who should get Section 8 housing or who should rent to Section 8 housing. We already have a mandate when new developments are made that such a percentage of that housing will go for affordable income. But as far as individual landlords,
We're losing.
I think we lost your bandwidth again. I'm sorry. Are you back with us,
Okay.
Ms. Stansbury?
that's it.
Okay. We're so sorry. Your bandwidth seems to be cutting out at the last 5 seconds of your talk. Did you need to say anything again?
No, we're good.
All right. Thank you. All right. Mr. Badillo.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. How could the county increase the availability of affordable housing for county residents?
So what my thought on affordable housing, the Section 8 and the vouchers, I honestly believe we need to take a pause. I'm for whoever has that we can keep it in place, but we need to take a bird's eye view of our community. We have huge issues that are going on in Baltimore County. It almost seems like we put incentives to keep families apart. I would put incentives together to keep families together. Our schools are over capacity. We don't have enough teachers to teach the kids that we have now. We have constant overdevelopment. So at the end of the day, as far as that's concerned, I believe that we need to focus on bringing working families to Baltimore County, because for the first 2 years, if we focus on strengthening our foundation, bringing working families to Baltimore County, strengthening our tax base, then we'll be able to help lower income housing better and vouchers. But if we flood Baltimore County with low income housing, vouchers, then everybody's going to leave and we're going to lower the tax base. We won't be able to support it. So I believe that we need to have opportunities for everybody in Baltimore County. It's not going to be based on your skin color, but it's going to be based on the content of your character. I believe we can make Baltimore County a great place to live, work, and play.
Okay, thank you. Staying with you, sir. Question 6. In Baltimore County, a number of communities currently face food deserts and thousands of residents face food insecurity. How would you work to resolve this situation?
So I would expand on what we're doing right now. My church at Rosedale, we actually distribute over 100,000 meals during the pandemic. And there's resources that are out there, but nobody's connecting the dots, I believe, because they don't care. You're constantly seeing people throwing money around, pilot programs, but nothing's working. At the end of the day, what we need to do is have somebody in office that cares like me, that wants to connect the dots, and I will connect the dots because there are resources out there. There are programs and nonprofits that are ready to help. We just need to encourage and help them expand their programs. I think if we support these nonprofits that are already there, like For My City, who donates hundreds of thousands of meals to the county and the city, we can help with that. So I believe that's what we need to do.
And Ms. Stansbury.
Yes, this is a very important issue in our community, especially on our Liberty Road corridor. We have food insecurity and food deserts where people are having to drive 20, 30 minutes to get to the local grocery store. We need to make contact with our churches and different organizations. Let's see if we can't move some of our local farmers to come in once, twice a week to open farmers markets in these areas where people have access to good, nutritious food. I've worked with the Boy Scouts of America, who does a wonderful job of distributing food to the needy. You know, with inflation the way it is, with the prices of food, we have to make sure that food is available to all residents of Baltimore County, no matter where they live.
Okay, thank you. We're going to pick up a couple of questions from the audience here. So the first question is, how would you work to increase tourism in Baltimore County? And we'll go first to you, Ms. Stansbury.
Baltimore County offers so much, and we have so much potential for tourism between the bay, our waterways. You know, we are so close to different attractions. I would like to see Oregon Ridge maybe open an amphitheater where we can have productions. The BSO used to come here to play orchestras and things like that, that will give our communities places to go where we can entertain. We need more hotels where we can attract conventions and things of that nature. Baltimore County is such a wealth of just natural resources that we can use, and we should be promoting tourism for all of our residents and for our whole country to come and see what a beautiful county Baltimore County is.
Thank you. Mr. Badillo, how would
Yes,
you work
can you
to
repeat that
increase
question?
tourism?
How to increase tourism. I love Baltimore County. I love Maryland. You know, we're right there where we can go to the harbor. We can go down to multiple places, White Marsh. We can go down to multiple areas. But I think to bring tourism here to Baltimore County, like I said, for me, I'm a strong believer in strengthening our foundation. So for the first 2 years, I'm not going to be focusing on tourism. I'm going to be focusing on building up our foundation. But as far as tourism and that is concerned, I think it just starts with public safety. We have residents that are scared to go out and do things. They're scared. We had a shooting right at Gershbeck's at the supermarket. So I think that to encourage tourism and to have residents continue to go out and do things with their family, it starts with funding public safety in Baltimore County, and that's what I will do.
Thank you. Another question. I'm going to again start with you, sir.
Okay.
How would you work to ensure that all communities have equitable access to public transportation and recreation opportunities?
That is a great question. And I love Baltimore County. Baltimore County is so diverse. You can go down one street and you get some Jamaican food. You can get a crab cake or get some tacos. But I have to say, like I mentioned previously, you know, I do believe that we need, as far as our residents, what we can do is put incentives to assist lower income workers get back on the job, like providing temporary childcare and transportation to help remove barriers and relief, which is so much needed. And I believe that as far as that's concerned, we just build bridges between employers and the workforce to help connect them with jobs. And there's so many jobs in Baltimore County. There's a job out here for anybody. And when Baltimore County works, Baltimore County wins. And like I said, solid foundations encourage positive growth.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Stansbury, how would you work to ensure that all communities have equitable access to public transportation and recreation?
Right now, our transportation system works very well. We have transit lines that go throughout the county. Recently, we just put the loop into Towson proper. That has been working out very well to get our seniors and our elderly and our students to where they need to go. Other communities, they would like to do the same thing. I would encourage other communities to help make sure that they have transportation to grocery stores, to movies, to everything that a family needs access to, shopping. We need to make that available, especially to our elderly, our disabled, and our veterans. County Ride needs to be expanded. I will work with each and every community for their unique needs so we can make this happen in Baltimore County.
Thank you. Here's another question that's come in, and we'll stay with you, Ms. Stansbury. What additional services do you think Baltimore County could offer its older adult population?
We need more senior centers. We need to make sure they have safe access and transportation to get there. Again, County Ride is a wonderful way for them to get to and from different activities. We need to expand home health care so our seniors will be able to have health care in their homes when they are not able to travel to and from their medical doctors. A lot of them cannot access their internet, so we need to make sure that cable is a.
Okay, cable. And again, we froze you out a little bit. We call it, the last thing was cable. Is there anything else after that?
We need to make sure all of our residents have access to Wi-Fi and cable, not only for our seniors, but for our students as well. There are still parts of Baltimore County where parents have to take their students to the school parking lot at night to do their homework. This is unacceptable. We need to get services to our most vulnerable, and we need to back them with every resource the county has.
Thank you. Mr. Badillo, what additional services do you think Baltimore County could offer its older adult population?
I think we just need to offer, more connection. I'm a deacon at my church. I work with 5 young ladies that I work with. And I think they just want more connection. But also, I was thinking about maybe even just connecting our high schools, our seniors, with the elderly, just allowing them to interact. I mean, I believe that our youth can learn so much from our elders. But also, I do believe we do need to make sure that they have internet access, they have phones, they have food, they have somewhere that somebody can, check in with them, whether it's a group or program, because a lot of our retirees, they spent 40, 30, 40, 50 years in taxes. I also believe we need to give them tax breaks. They pay their fair share. We need to get other people back in the workforce. So at the end of the day, I do believe we need to provide more connection with our retirees. And I believe that also keeping our public safety funding that will help them be able to go out and do things. I talk to a lot of the older retirees that I talk to. They're afraid to go out and do anything. They feel like Baltimore County is going in the wrong direction.
Okay, thank you. And I'm going to stay with you, sir, for the next question. What would be your plan to address violence in the county?
For me,
That's a great question. And like I mentioned, it starts with, with all due respect, Chief Hyatt. Like I mentioned, with recruitment at an all-time low, morale at an all-time low, she has to go. She's out of touch with reality. She says crime is down. And even the current county executive says crime is down. They say statistically, but you can't use those numbers if their numbers off. Police officers are less engaged. They're afraid to do their job. And I was at a FOP bull roast, and they told me that's the only profession that can no longer use their instincts, because if they get pulled over, they get asked why that they pull them over in the first place. So at the end of the day, I believe that we need to work with the FOP more, have weekly meetings, document recommendations, and have weekly action items, because it is the responsibility, again, of every community to ensure the safety and security of our schools, churches, business, and homes. And we do that by fully funding our police, fire, EMS, and ensuring they have the tools and training to protect and serve our community.
Thank you. Ms. Stansbury.
Yes, could you repeat the question, please?
Sure. What would be your plan to address violence and crime in the county?
The number one thing would be reinstate the Law Enforcement Officers' Bill of Rights. I agree with Mr. Badillo. Chief Hyatt has to go. Our officers do not feel that she has their backs. They feel like they are not appreciated. We need to make sure that we retain our officers. July 1st, we're going to lose a tremendous amount of officers because of retirement, and some are just plain fed up. They're leaving. We need to offer incentives to get them to stay, maybe in
Again, we've got you frozen.
Everything
I'm so
possible.
sorry. Your bandwidth,
That's
you
okay.
must be having trouble with the internet from the storm.
It's storming here. We have to keep our officers. We have to make sure that their salaries are commensurate with counties that surround us, so we do not lose them because of money. We need to make sure that our communities feel safe. Crime is not down. You talk to anyone who lives in the Towson area, and they will tell you that they're afraid to go into Towson, especially on nights and weekends. We need to get a hold of this. We need to make parents responsible for the actions of their children. We used to have public service announcements. We need to get the message out there that parents have the responsibility.
30 seconds.
Children are doing. Let's do something progressive. We can't always be reactive. We have to set standards now.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll stay with you, Ms. Stansbury. Another question has come in. What kind of additional summer work or internship programs do you think Baltimore County could institute to help serve our young people?
I would love to see our young people work with some of our healthcare organizations for our elderly and our disabled citizens. I think that interaction between the groups would be wonderful for both of them. You know, if it's nothing more than going and sitting and reading to someone who has a loss of vision, escorting some of our They are
I'm so sorry, we lose you. Ms. Stansbury, we're losing you. So you were talking about the youth and escorting?
Escorting our elderly to the grocery store or to get their hair done, to make them feel like they are not alone. Other institutions, medical, there are some students that want to go into the medical profession. Let them intern or volunteer. We used to have candy stripers and things like that in our hospitals. Let's get back to volunteering. Every one of these volunteer jobs will help them be prepared for a life career.
Thank you. Mr. Badillo, your turn to answer.
Can you read that question again?
Sure. What kind of additional summer work or internship programs do you think Baltimore County could institute to help serve our young people?
You know, I believe here in Baltimore County, like I mentioned, I serve our youth. I've been serving our youth faithfully for the past 4 years, every week at our at-risk mentorship program. And a lot of the children, they're just looking for something to do. You walk around the malls, you'll see the kids sitting on their phones, just waiting for something to do. I believe that we just need to provide them with opportunities. We have a lot of kids that are very intelligent here in Baltimore County. But I believe, like I said, we need to connect them with positive after-school programs. I believe that we need to have more trade schools here in Baltimore County. There's multiple locations, and I talk with business owners who tell me that they would love to dedicate their time to work with our children, because a lot of these small business areas, our business owners are local, and they would like to help the local kids who are like them. They were at risk, but they worked hard. They stayed focused, and they became somebody, so they want to give back. And at the end of the day, we have funds right now in the county. The county executive today could sign to connect our youth with after-school programs, and it's not being done. So I think, first of all, we just got to have somebody in office that cares like me. I care. I will connect the dots. I will connect our youth with programs like mine and with Big Brothers. And like I said, I talked with the owner of karate. He owns a couple karate dojos. He would like to work with our youth, teaching them discipline and focus. So at the end of the day, we just need to connect the dots with positive resources for our children that are desperately crying for it.
Thank you. And we're going to stay with you for the next question then. As county executive, what would you do to decrease homelessness?
I think it starts with, economic development. I think that how we can help the homeless is that supporting our small businesses, helping them continue to thrive and throw, connecting the unemployed residents with employment opportunities. Like I said, there's enough jobs out here for Baltimore County that anybody that's homeless should be able to get a job. So we'll be able to provide incentives, whether it's temporary housing, temporary transportation, temporary childcare, to assist lower income workers get back on a job. Because when Baltimore County works, Baltimore County wins. And like I always said, solid foundations encourage positive growth.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Stansbury.
Yes, homelessness has been growing in Baltimore County. The highest population of homelessness is returning female veterans. We need to make sure our veterans have access to VA health care. We need to make sure that other homeless people have access to shelters and things of that nature with counselors that will help them get on the right track, to help them get an address. A lot of them cannot get a job because they don't have a stable address to put on an application. Let's get career counselors, mental health counselors, things that people need in order to succeed. We need to help all the populations of Baltimore County. We should not be seeing the number of homeless people we have in Baltimore County should not be rising. We should be doing everything we can to make that number lessen. Give them every opportunity, and we will help them.
Thank you. And we'll stay with you for the next question, Ms. Stansbury. Do you think that the Baltimore County tax rate needs to be adjusted? And if so, how would you address to make those adjustments?
I would love to lower taxes. Right now, for elderly, they have paid off their home. They have spent the last 30 years paying on their residence. Now they have retired. They're on a fixed income. They can no longer afford to have their property taxes increase every year. Let's try to decrease that tax. I am not for increased taxes, and I will do everything in my power to keep the residents of Baltimore County from paying higher taxes.
Thank you. Mr. Badillo, your response?
Yes, and at the end of the day, here in Baltimore County, they raised our property taxes when the pandemic started. I didn't understand that. We have a surplus in our budget right now. We should find a way to reduce the burden on our residents, and it does start with, cutting taxes. I will work with the county council. I believe that we do need to lower taxes for our residents. We have more money than we need right now in Baltimore County and a lot of waste. So at the end of the day, I'm not for raising taxes. I'm all for looking ways to cut taxes, eliminate things in our budget, and provide more relief for our residents and small business owners.
Thank you. I'm going to shift here, and we're going to have a couple of questions on education, and we'll start the first one with you, Mr. Badillo. The first question on education is, how will you use your budgetary influence as county executive on the county budget to address what you see are the major educational issues of the county.
We have major issues with our education system here in Baltimore County. This is why I got in the race. My son has an IEP, and prior to COVID, we decided to hold him back. And when COVID hit, we had many concerns about virtual learning. And then while he was going through virtual learning, I saw the frustration, but I was frustrated because public schools were closed, but we had private and Christian schools open. So at the end of the day, what's going on right now is that we have children that are constantly being disrespectful and disrupted in our classes. We need to hold the parents and the children accountable. We need to make sure that each teacher has the tools and training to provide the best education for our children. We need to provide more trade schools, like I mentioned, connect our children with employment opportunities to help them be successful residents. There's many children in school that a high school diploma is not going to do them anything good here in Baltimore County. There's some children that just need a GED and help them get employment to provide money for their family. That's what I would do. We need to connect our children with positive after-school programs. And like I said, we're too focused on being woke. We need to wake up. We're falling fast. We need to focus on reading, math, and science because every child has the right to a quality and safe education.
Thank you. Ms. Stansbury, your response?
Our education system right now is broken. It starts
You're frozen.
available candidates to replace Mr. Williams as superintendent. I agree with the county council. I would also like to get our students, especially our students with IEPs, but also the students who learn faster. Let's deal with every child on an individual and unique basis. Let's get them the quality education that they need. Right now, we don't know what is going on in our schools because the Maryland report card has not been released yet to the public. We need to know what is going on as far as at what level are our students performing. I also would like to see trade schools in the county. We have several locations. Eastern Baltimore County, we need to get trade schools there. These students, they need to finish their academics in 9th and 10th grades, and let's concentrate on financial literacy. Let's give them life skills. Let them go on to trade schools where they can get a certification for everything from driving a truck to electrical to plumbing. Let's give them resources to win at life. Let's give them something that they need. If they're not going on to higher education, let's let them earn a good living and raise their family in Baltimore County.
Okay. Well, actually, you kind of addressed the second part of the educational question. The second part was related to your thoughts on vocational schools and training program. Is there any additional comment you wanted to make on that part?
No,
Okay.
I'm good with that. We just need to give the
All right, thank you. So I'll allow Mr. Badillo to address that part of the question.
And repeat that part again.
Yeah. Do you think that Baltimore County should have more vocational schools and training programs?
100%. Like I mentioned, you know, there's a lot of successful people that I know that didn't go to college that became very successful. And successful don't have to be about money. It could just be about successful in the way they want to live their life, providing for their family. And we have many children that going to college is not going to benefit them, like I mentioned. They would like us to help them get a high school diploma, GED, and help them get help them get a job to provide finances for their family. So at the end of the day, I'm 100% for more trade schools. I had a chance to visit a business owner, and I want to tell you the story. He went to a trade school. He started boat mechanics. He's about to retire, and he had this young kid working with him for 11 years, and now he's retiring. He's giving that young kid his business. He's handing it over to him because of his hard work and his dedication. So there's huge opportunities for children to learn a skill in a trade school, and then that will allow them to be a successful citizen in Baltimore County.
Thank you. We're going to move to another question, but we'll stay with you, Mr. Badillo. The next question is, as county executive, What do you think is the most serious problem facing Baltimore County residents, and what could you do to help solve it?
And I'll go back to public safety. It starts with public safety. It starts with having safe streets and safe schools. At the end of the day, we have to fully fund public safety here in Baltimore County. We need to have zero tolerance in the streets and in our schools. And like I mentioned, it's the responsibility of every community to ensure the safety and security of our school, churches, businesses, and homes. And again, we do that by fully funding our police, fire, and EMS, and ensuring they have the tools and training to protect and serve our communities. We need to do better with our public safety in Baltimore County. That's the #1 issue.
Okay, thank you, sir. Ms. Stansbury.
Yes, public safety is always my top priority. Making the residents of Baltimore County safe, having what they need as far as fire, EMS, police. When I call 911, I want someone to actually answer the phone, not be put on hold. Right now, we've had a $652,000 decrease in 911 funding. We need to change that. If something is happening and I need help, or any resident in Baltimore County needs help, we should get an answer, not be placed on hold. So public safety is my top priority.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. We're going to move to IT security and privacy as a question. There has already been one major recent ransomware attack on a county department. How do you propose preventing future attacks, and how would you help protect residents' confidential information from a ransomware attack?
For me first?
Yes, you're first, Ms. Stansbury.
We still do not know how much it cost Baltimore County during that ransomware attack. I would like to see in writing what happened, how it was resolved. We still do not have the answers in that. We do need to put every effort into maintaining the secrecy of our personal information through Baltimore County. Every resident has been frustrated about hackers getting into all of their accounts, whether it be their bank account, even their social media accounts. We need the best and the brightest to come out and work for Baltimore County, and let's see if we can't stop this. We understand that a lot of this is coming from other countries, but we need to have basically a firewall in Baltimore County that we can use to stop these attacks, that we need to keep our residents safe, their information safe, especially their health information, their banking information. Everything needs to be safe for our residents, not just from crime, but also for our
we lost you after not only for crime. Right. We lost you after your statement, not only for crime.
Not only for crime, but for our personal information. We should not have our private lives put on display for everyone to see. Only people should have access to our information is ourselves.
Thank you. Mr. Badillo, your turn to respond.
Yes, repeat that question one more time, sorry.
Yes. There has already been one major recent ransomware attack on a county department. How do you propose preventing future attacks, and how would you help protect residents' confidential information from a ransomware attack?
And that's a great question. And I believe it just starts with having leaders in charge that care. And when you care, you have short-term plans, you have long-term plans, and then you have preventative maintenance as well. We need to connect with the cybersecurity leaders in the world. But also, I believe we need to support the children that want to learn cybersecurity here in Baltimore County and support them with getting the education, but also putting incentives in place for those that are specialists in cybersecurity to live and work here in Baltimore County.
Okay, thank you. Let me see. I'm looking through the chat. One second. Okay, this is also an education question. A large portion of Baltimore County public school students live in poverty. What could you do as county executive to make sure that our children have what they need to thrive?
I work with a lot of our youth, and a lot of youth are disconnected. A lot of the youth that live in poverty, that deal with trauma. And I believe we need to look at our education system a little bit differently. We can't educate the children that live in Annapolis in a two-parent home the same as we can educate a child that lives on the county city line that hears gunshots, crimes, murders, drugs being dealt in front of their home. We need to adjust that. I think we need to adapt. And I had a chance to talk to a psychologist, and I asked her, do children that see crime, drugs, things like that, do they have forms of PTSD? And she said, yes. We know this. The leaders know this, and they're not doing nothing about it. So I just believe that we need to look at how we educate our children. We need to make sure that our kids have something to eat in the morning. There's children that could do better learning and not be disruptive if they just had food in their stomach. And I believe that, if we have lunches that are left over, allow them to take them home. Help these children that are behind from the pandemic. Help them build up their education, catch them up, not just pass a student to the next grade to put more pressure on them, their families, and the teachers. So at the end of the day, we just need to show our children that we care, connect them with positive resources, provide them with meals, and just have them in a positive environment. That's what I believe.
Thank you. Ms. Stansbury, your chance to respond.
Yes, our children are our future. We have to do everything we can to help them succeed. And Mr. Badillo is right. Children who view violence every day are affected by it. They do have a form of PTSD. We have school resource officers that are in our schools right now who, for the large part, pack backpacks for our children every week to take home on weekends to make sure that they have some food with them during the weekend. We must continue to provide meals for our students. We must provide internet for our students because that's the future. We need to be able to give them the computers they need. We need to give them the resources that they need to learn and grow, not only in education, but as a person. Our students have been so marginalized during the pandemic that they've lost touch with who they really are. They have no respect for authority. They have no respect for parents. They don't have respect for themselves. And we need to do everything we can to help our children become okay with who they are. And when they are okay with who they are, they will become learners who will thrive in life. And that's what we need to do with our children.
30 seconds.
We need to make sure that they like themselves, and that way they can succeed.
Okay, thank you. I'm looking through the chat here. Excuse me just a second. Here we go. I will stay with you, Ms. Stansbury. How would you work with the Maryland governor and members of the General Assembly to ensure that Baltimore County's top priorities are met?
Well, I would love to work with them to make sure that we have the funding that we need to support the programs that we need here in Baltimore County. Everything from infrastructure, which we have major bridges in the county that are failing, that we need state help to support these roadways before a disaster happens. I cannot imagine anything more, just so devastating than have a bridge collapse or something of that, because we are not maintaining our infrastructure. Infrastructure is everything in Baltimore County. We will work with the governor to make sure that we have the funding we need for programs in Baltimore County.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Badillo.
Yes, read that question for me, please.
Sure. How would you work with the Maryland governor and members of the General Assembly to ensure that Baltimore County's top priorities are met?
and that's a great question, and just goes with what I just keep saying. It's about building our foundation. I heard talking about the roads. If we have a leader in charge that don't care about his area, how will he care about the rest of the county? So I recently had the residents of Miller's Island, right where Johnny O lives, call me because they have a water main issue. A gentleman lost his business because the fire department came, it was burning down, and they could not connect the water because the water was off because of the water main issue. So when they brought this to my attention, within 6 days, I contacted a firm. They came down and looked at it. They assessed it. I got the blueprint from the city. I got recommendations and where to find the money. So at the end of the day, I will work with local leaders. I will work with residents to see the issues. And we have some roads here in Baltimore County that you have roads better in third world countries. At the end of the day, we got to care. We got to put our residents first. We need to stop all this overdevelopment. We need to take a bird's eye view of our community, build up our roads, our bridges, and just put our residents first. And that's what I will do.
All right. And here is a kind of a different type of question that's come in. There has been a rise in anti-Semitism in the U.S. Would you work to provide resources to enable Holocaust survivors to talk to our youth?
100%. I believe that our youth needs to hear their stories. I believe we need to connect them. So I'm 100% for and supporting in any way I can so our youth can understand what happened, so the survivors can share their stories, and then we can continue to learn from that situation.
Thank you. Ms. Stansbury, your response?
I 100% stand behind teaching the Holocaust to our children as part of their education. I took my own children to the Holocaust Memorial. This needs to be something that all of our children see. We cannot let this happen again. I was at Towson University at the opening of their Hallel. College students who were going to service on Friday evenings were being attacked right here in Towson. They now have a new Hallel at Towson Commons where it is a safe place for them to gather. We should make sure that all of our religions are respected. No one should be attacked for practicing their religion, and it will not happen in Baltimore County while I am county executive.
Okay, thank you so much. At this point, it does appear that we've answered the questions that are available, so we're going to move to our closing statements. Each person will have 2 minutes to make their closing statement, and we're starting in reverse order, so Ms. Stansbury, you get to make your statement first.
I believe in Baltimore County. I love its people. I love everything about it. I have raised my children here. I hope many, many, many people raise their families here. I hope those families stay here in Baltimore County and do the same with their families. It's a tradition. My husband's family's been in Baltimore County since 1654, and I don't see the Stansbury family moving anywhere anytime soon. But we have a lot of work to do. We need to address all issues, including our infrastructure. We have to plan for the future. One of those things is something called the Adequate Public Facilities Ordinances. We need to get those passed through the county council. That was proposed in December of 2020. That will help us better prepare for what we need. It will let us know how many kids will be going to public schools. It'll allow us to prepare for infrastructure. We need to put these facility ordinances through now. If I am county executive, that will be the first thing I do as county executive, is to send this to the county council. I hope that you vote for me, Kim Stansbury, for Baltimore County Executive, because I love the people of Baltimore County, and I will work every day to do what you want me to do. I represent you. This is not my county, it's your county, and I hope to be the best county executive that you could possibly ask for. Thank you. You can contact me on www.electkimstansbury.org or my website at electkimstansbury2022@gmail.com.
Thank you, Ms. Stansbury. Mr. Badillo, your closing statement.
Yes, I just want to thank your team for hosting this event. And like I mentioned, I'm a lifelong resident here in Baltimore County, and I chose to be here, and I choose to serve. I love serving our community and our kids. And there's nothing I want to do more than to serve the community at a higher capacity. And with your vote, I can do that. I have to say the current county executive would love for our community to stay the same and not move forward. But we do, again, need a leader with integrity that has high character that will put the Baltimore County residents first. And that's what I will do. I'm not a politician. I don't owe anybody any favors but the residents here in Baltimore County. And you know, we constantly hear about all the problems that we have and other cities have, but I don't care what's going on in any of the other cities, any of the counties. We're not going to wait for anybody to come here in Baltimore County and fix our problems. We're going to fix them. We're going to set the standard here in Baltimore County for the rest of Maryland and then for the rest of our country. Honor me with your vote, and I will deliver you a safe and stronger Baltimore County. You can find me at darrenbadillo.com, at Darren Badillo 2022. I have an event coming up next Thursday. I would love for everybody to come. Thank you.
Thank you both very much.
Thank you for having us.
Nielsen?
Ooh, do you have the, I don't have it.
Oh, yes. Thank you, audience members, for your questions and participating in tonight's program. Thank you to our candidates for participating in the forum and serving as an example of civil discourse. You've given Baltimore County residents a great deal to think about as we vote in July. I would also like to thank our forum committee for arranging the event and the League of Women Voters Baltimore County and NAACP of Randallstown for co-sponsoring the forum. In the next few days, recordings of this forum will be available on the League's website and on the vote411.org site. Primary elections day is July 19, 2022. Early voting begins July 7, and all voting ends July 19 at 9 p.m. Vote411.org is the LWV free online voters guide, your one-stop shopping site for everything about your local ballot, candidate positions in their own words, polling places, and more. Hard copies of the League of Women Voters guides will be available soon at branches of the Baltimore County Public Library, senior centers, Head Start centers, and college campuses. We hope that you will consider joining or donating to the League of Women's Voters of Baltimore County and the Randallstown NAACP to support our work. Thank you again for everyone for coming, and good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.